dig it? Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation.
It's time to join the conversation. Oh, you ready? Are you recording? Okay. Are you recording now? Okay.
Yeah, we're waiting on Troy. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Oh, now I got to wait for these stupid crickets.
Here.
That's better. Welcome to another episode of Hardheaded. I'm your host, Matt Amos. With me, as always, Chet Sears and Troy Trussell.
Yo.
Appreciate y'all joining us today on this episode, whichever number we're on now.
196.
We're approaching 200.
Yep.
200.
Well, speaking of, when we're done recording today, we got to work out some logistics.
Logistics.
For a special upcoming 200 episode event.
Right.
What
yes.
we're going to call the trophy transfer.
The trophy transfer.
It's
TT,
going to go to
just like me.
It's going to go to Troy or it's going to go to me.
It may stay with me.
Nope.
You never know. You never know. But at least this time I get a fair shot at this instead of being...
You had a fair shot last
Did
You
not.
fixed your leg right there.
Four stands into it. So I had to goof off for 4 stands and not even do it seriously.
I'd never shot sporting clays before in my life. So it took me 4 stands to even figure out how to do it.
I may have done it twice.
Yeah, whatever.
I'd never shot a course like that. I mean, I had shot clays before, but never a course.
Anyway,
I never shot a clay.
I'm sure our regular listeners know what we're talking about, but
Plenty of ducks that way, though.
it's going to come out. It's coming out. But anyway, today we got, I don't know. We're not really doing a what's on your mind. We just kind of got some current events going on. So
yeah.
talking
Current
about,
events.
I don't know.
Democratic
We're just going to
Party.
talk about what we're going to talk about.
Well, we have a schedule.
I mean, I know that, but do you want me to tell them what we're going to talk about?
Sure.
We're going to talk about the independent defectors, former Democratic Party folks that went independent that now have either quit their run for presidency and endorsed Trump or have just gone and endorsed Trump.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Tulsi Gabbard,
And
RFK
RFK.
Jr., and then RFK's running mate as well. Been very vocal in the space. Shanahan or something.
I forget her name. I looked her up when we were doing the vice president stuff.
Oh, I follow old Tulsi Gabbard on TikTok.
Yeah? You're on TikTok?
Dude, I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere?
Have you recently bashed her time in service?
No, I
Or
haven't.
what she did or the claims that she made?
One of her videos came across my feed, and I was like, it's very interesting. And so I clicked on her page and just started watching a bunch of her stuff. I liked how she doesn't back down, and she just says what's on her mind. I love it. And then she was on The View and didn't back down. I was like, yeah, I like her. Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Our top 3 today is top 3 companies in which we would like to be CEO.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I'd rather be an owner, to be honest with you, than a CEO. But CEO means work, typically.
Typically.
I don't really like a whole lot of that.
Just want that owner pay.
I want that owner pay.
That's right.
I want to be able to show up, cash checks,
Breaknecks.
breaknecks. And then Troy's going to take us out with a good word. So kick it off, I guess. We got RFK, who has now endorsed former President Donald Trump.
Yeah, but he hasn't dropped out. That's one of the things we want to correct. He suspended his campaign.
Okay, so he suspended his campaign.
And in certain states,
They aren't allowing him,
he's trying to get his name off of the ballot.
but they won't let him.
And in other states, he's trying to keep his name on the
it.
ballot, and they're fighting that. There's definitely a big game of politics going on because he wants his name to be on the ballot in the blue states because that's where he's more likely going to pull people that would vote for Biden. And in the red states, he's
You
wanting
mean Harris?
Oh yeah, Harris. Oh, same. Whatever. You're right.
Just saying. Let's get our facts straight here. Let's not send this out into the Podiverse. Is that what it's called?
Podiverse?
Yeah, podcast, Podiverse.
Oh, Sure.
Okay, carry on. Whatever.
No, keep going.
I don't even know what I was saying.
Well, you were saying,
podiverse.
You were saying pull votes from
so
typically Democratic voters.
Gamesmanship with the where your name's on the ballot.
Yeah, well, and so the Democrats were trying to keep his name on the ballot in swing states, and
where Trump would get votes.
Where Trump would get votes, more likely to get votes. So like Arizona, what's the
I think they're in the swing states. They want him off.
I thought it was they were trying to keep him on
because he's going to pull from Democrats. He's not pulling from Republicans. So if he's on in a swing state, Harris is going to get less votes because some of those people are going to vote for him. The Democrats.
Well, I thought, the way I heard it was the states that are swing states that typically vote.
If they're a swing state, they don't typically vote in a specific way.
They still lean one way or the other, depending
That's why
on.
I call them a swing state. They could swing either way. Oh my gosh!
I just ran into the microphone.
Anyway,
oh,
I'm excited about both of them defecting, if you will, just for the sole fact that we may, and I'm not 100% sure, if Trump were to still be alive and win, and he's already
that's a big
if.
He would potentially be pulling together a cabinet of idealistic people, not political people. So RFK Jr. has an ideal view of what the health of our nation should be, like physical health. So that's why he's been this investigating the vaccines, looking at what our food pyramid is and why we have so much obesity in the country. And so that's an ideal. It's not like we need power, political power. And Gabbard is a big anti-war. Let's not go to war. And she said specifically in her speech endorsing Trump that she sees him as a, quote, war as a last resort candidate. So And we clearly do not have that with the Democrat Party today. As soon as Biden took over, things started going south globally, and our allies are in more conflicts. If you look at Israel. Speaking of, also just recently had a round of hostages that were taken on October 7th of last year. So we're almost coming up on a year. They just executed 6 of them. They found them on Monday of this week. And then they found, based on the forensics or whatever, they assumed that they were killed about 36 to 48 hours prior to them being found. One of the 6 was an American citizen. So American citizens have been hostages taken from Israel into Gaza. And one of them was executed, shot to the back of the head on Sunday or Monday of this week. And you don't really hear much about that in the news. And
you're not going to.
Our president, who is still Joe Biden, by the way, he spent a couple weeks on vacation in California, returned to Delaware to vacation in Delaware. So...
And he's still our president. He's just on vacation.
Yeah.
So who's running this country?
Well, when he's not on vacation, who's running this country?
Right.
Because the dude's just not. It's worse. I mean, he gave a speech last night for the UAW or some union deal, and it's just hard to understand him now. Like he can't even speak regularly. He's slurring all kinds of stuff.
So who's in charge?
It's bad. The quote unquote deep state, like the people that have been, the bureaucracy, the people that have run the government agencies.
Right.
And you could argue they've always been in charge.
So nothing's really changed. Just they've
been running the show since he got elected.
Their talking head just changed.
Before then.
Well, yeah.
They've been running the show since. JFK?
We'll say roughly. I mean, they're the ones that took him out. So, like,
Yeah.
So we'll see. RFK. I heard a conversation with him. You know why? Because our listeners, please understand. Anytime we criticize Biden, the Biden administration, Harris, the Harris administration, or anybody, does not mean that we're also praising Trump by criticizing his opponents. Because Trump lied to the American people specifically about when they have this moratorium that on classified information that it won't be released until a certain time, like 50 years after, all this kind of stuff. That timeline on all of the JFK assassination documentation. Well,
he promised
expired.
Promised to release it.
It expired. It was supposed to be. It was on scheduled release under Trump's administration, and he didn't allow it to release. But he said he would, and he didn't. And he said more recently on one of the podcasts that he was on, which, by the way, I'm a big fan of him being on. He's on these long form podcasts like crazy. So he went on with who am I thinking of? Sean Ryan. So he was on with him last week.
Has he done Tucker yet?
Maybe. There's so many of them.
Yeah, I've seen him pop up.
With
quite
Theo
a bit.
Vaughn? Was
he on with
who
Theo
did
Vaughn?
Theo Vaughn interview that was recent?
That one I don't know.
I can't remember. But anyway, but he said on
crazy
one
to
of
think
them that
somebody
it was
would go on with Theo.
He
Vaughn.
said it was Mike Pompeo that begged him, like begged me not to release it. And the assumption, people listening to that, the assumption is because it is 100% implicating the CIA being the one that murdered JFK, which again, that's all speculation until the documents come out. But that's the thought. So anyway, and he didn't do it. He also is Operation Warp Speed, the reason we have the vaccines. Trump is. So don't think a criticism of one candidate is a praise of the other.
No, we criticize them all.
Fair game.
But I am a fan of the clarity that Gabbard communicates with, and Trump specifically reached out because the reason Harris dropped out of the 2020 presidential candidate race is because Gabbard, from a debate perspective, murdered Harris on stage at the primary debate.
Well, and I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Harris didn't get any.
It was a 16 debate. I'm sorry, not the 20. Was it? I don't remember. Anyway.
A few years back.
Yeah.
Whichever Biden's, because they were all running against each other.
Yeah.
So this would be coming up on Biden's second term, but he gave that up. So it would have been 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, but she didn't secure any votes, I don't think, did she?
She dropped out because she didn't secure in the first primary.
The delegate
Iowa.
or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of that.
I agree with you, and I've liked like Tulsi Gabbard back in 2020, and she was one of those candidates that I was like, I could probably have more of a reason to vote for her than I do for Trump because she's more kind of the middle ground. There are things that I don't like, but there's things that I do like, but I think that she would work with both sides well. And I respect that. And I always liked, like RFK when he, Junior, when he first, announced his run, I was like, oh, well, I like a lot of what this guy says. I don't agree with everything, but I think he's more, more middle ground and maybe can kind of bring everybody together. And,
well, what we're seeing is the multiple sides, multiple facets of the political spectrum actually having the potential to be represented in one candidacy.
Yeah.
So you've got
that Trump's more middle of the road anyway.
Trump's a chameleon,
especially
if you look at his abortion record, where he is now versus where he was when he got elected in 2016.
Second Amendment, I mean, he banned bump stocks, which retarded anyway. You shouldn't have to ban anything like that. It's stupid.
But so he's like a chameleon. He'll go
wherever.
Anyway, you look at JD Vance, what I would assume, what little I know about him, but he is like hard conservative. He was a never Trumper at one point because Trump was wishy-washy. And then you look at Gabbard, who is, was in the Democratic representative for Hawaii for several terms. She served in the National Guard. She was deployed in like 2005 in Iraq. But she is an anti-war. Like, we don't need to be going around getting all these conflicts in the Middle East or multiple fronts. I understand what it means to send our sons and daughters to war, and we don't need to do it for the reasons that they're going now. And then you have RFK, who I think is speaking a lot of common sense on the health front right now. There's a lot of things I don't agree with him about.
Well, I mean, and I did see one, of course it's a meme, and I don't know, because I know that he and
you get all your news through memes?
Yeah. He and former President Trump have talked about cabinet positions and, all that kind of stuff.
That's who it was. Theo Vaughn was with RFK.
No, well, I just looked it up and it said, why is he interviewing Trump?
Oh, yeah, so he did.
That was on Vox. And it was kind of funny because, the current, cabinet member for the health, whatever, I mean, is somebody with some mental problems, right? And then you got RFK, who looks better than any of us three with his shirt off. It is
at 70 something.
Yeah. I mean, the dude's in shape, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, he knows something about some health, but, I think it's a good mix of people if he would bring all of those together to actually work together instead of trying to fight,
right?
The whole time trying to fight the Democratic Party. Like, hey, how can we come together and agree on some things and get some things done?
There's been some talk on Musk serving on the cabinet as well, Elon Musk, as a waste eliminator czar, which what we've seen from him and what he did with Twitter when he bought them and turned them into X. It's like, I don't need like 75% of you guys. Like, we can do better with far less people.
Can you imagine if he just went in and just
did that to the government?
All of these cabinets and just like gone.
He would be dead. Like,
you're fired. Yeah. However he would say it, in his South African accent.
Take that on the road.
I think it'd just be funny. But
so I don't know. I'm kind of getting excited about, what would that look like? Because we have been so polarized on politics for just a majority of my life, especially my adult life. It has been.
I'd say the adult life for sure. But I think it kind of started almost in the 90s when we first went to Iraq. I think that's kind of when I noticed like some hardcore, like, we shouldn't go there, we shouldn't do that. Why are we even? Well, I mean,
you go further back to Vietnam, and really, you look at Eisenhower. So when World War II's over, he was approached by the Democratic Party and the Republican Party to be their presidential nominee, and he chose the Republican Party and got elected president. So there was not the two parties at that time weren't so polarized where, based on who you are and what you've done, we would never accept you. Like, at that point, it's like, we just want good leadership to be in our party. And that is potentially, if you agree that RFK is a good leader, and maybe he's not, but he's got some good ideas. If you agree that Gabbard's views and her boldness, I think we could say that she has courage, is a strong position to be in, helping in some form or fashion on a cabinet. And then you do have some right of center with the vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance. You may have this a government, a cabinet that could be put together with various views representing the people. And we clearly know that the Harris-Walz campaign is not representing. There's people that have views like mine that will never be represented in that cabinet. No way. There just won't be, because they're too far radical in that direction. Yeah. And that's why people like us are hated by them.
But that's why they stepped up. That's why Gabbard and RFK.
That's why they
stepped away in the first place.
Yeah. And Gabbard, one of the things that through some of the articles I was reading, one of the things that really, because she was a huge Bernie Sanders supporter, and once she realized that they messed him over with the way the nominations were going, that with the delegate votes, that she's like, I lost trust in the Democratic leadership at that time, because he was clearly in the lead and they clearly kicked his legs. They swept the leg. They took his legs out from under him. And then she realized, it kind of opened her up, like, oh my gosh, these people are evil. There's no justice here. There's only power.
Sweep the leg.
This is what they did. That's exactly what they did.
You have a problem with that, Mr. Lawrence?
Yep. So that's pretty interesting.
Let me ask you this. So Trump gets elected. He puts all these people in the cabinet. How are they going to get things done? Because the left's just going to attack them like they did last time. So what happens then?
So who knows?
Yeah,
but the left is attacking his words. So
well, I know, but it's screwed up a lot of stuff. It stopped Trump from getting reelected.
No,
there wasn't like
COVID stopped Trump from getting reelected.
Well, a lot of things came together to stop that.
Votes, the mail-in ballots stopped Trump from being.
Well, and you can argue that the election was rigged and all that stuff.
Well, the ability for people to vote without having to use an ID and with just a piece of paper. There's no valid individual on the other end of those ballots. And by the way, there's a lot of court cases that have proven that there were mail-in ballots that weren't from citizens that were counted in the presidential election. So, I mean, this you can't deny it. It's factual. Now, what you can argue is, was it enough to turn the election from one way to the other way? But we do know, and this is where it's getting crazy. We do know that there is a push right now to pass a federal law that says that you have to show a state ID. Whether that's your you could get an ID card, you get a driver's license, passport, whatever, to prove that you are a citizen when you go vote in a federal election. There's some states that don't require this for local elections, and that's up to the state. That is 100% opposed by the Democratic Party.
Well, of course.
They do not want any kind of identification requirements. And the question that all of our listeners need to ask is why? Why would you not want to be able to make it where we know that only citizens are voting to elect our officials? Why? I don't know a good answer to that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So Trump, I don't think he's going to get elected again if he's alive.
Yeah, you don't think he's going to make it to November?
Who does? Do you? I mean,
I don't know. You're the prophetic one here.
I think we know enough about the Pennsylvania deal that was
a little too easy,
a little too many coincidences of allowing. There may not be knowledge and coordination, but there's definitely lapses, multiple lapses of standard protocol.
And that's a whole nother podcast in itself, is putting the wrong people in the right places so that things get missed. I mean, that's where all of this happens. It's done at a level deep state.
Well, at some point, you could put incompetent people in there, and know what's going to happen.
Mistakes
what's going to happen.
Mistakes are going to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not traceable to anybody, because
let's put them in there and see what happens.
Yeah.
If it were me, and they were putting me in charge of, a squad, and then let's just say that 2 Marines brand new to the unit somehow got hazed, even though I said, hey, don't haze them. And then they brought me up on charges for culpable inefficiency. This may or may not have happened. And then, but it's like, you didn't know. We can't really blame you because you didn't know, but here, we're still going to make you do this because you didn't know. Like, we're going to charge you with this because you didn't know.
Yeah.
So then I took it to court martial, and, then they dropped everything. But, it's dumb.
Yeah.
But that's how they're doing it, is like, we're going to put all these people that do not know how to do this job. We're going to put them in these positions so that maybe something will come of it in our favor. But whatever, that's a whole nother podcast topic.
I don't know. I don't want to get it. But it's already talked about less than. I mean, the president got shot in the head, or the presidential candidate, former president, got shot in the head.
Yeah,
like that's a big deal. We don't. It's like the news cycle is off. We talk about JFK's assassination more today than we talk about Trump's attempted assassination. Just a little over a month ago.
Right.
It was like, I mean, it's because it was not that bad, right? He got grazed on the ear, so it's not that big of a deal. Like we'll let that slide.
Yeah, inches. Not even inches.
No,
millimeters.
Not even
millimeters.
Turn of a head.
Yeah.
Turn of a head's worth.
Anyway.
But, so anyway, I mean, I don't know what November is going to bring. I do know that I am going to be in D.C. 10 days after the election, so I'm excited to see if Trump's elected the place on fire. And then
no, we know that that's not going to be until January, because we know that Raskin said they're going to prevent the delegates from the states from allowing Trump to becoming president, because they're going to invoke the 14th Amendment, because he was he did a treasonous act by trying to overthrow the government on January 6th of 2020.
Well, I mean, whatever.
We covered this when you weren't here, but anyway.
So I will say this: the last time that he was elected, they didn't wait till January 6th. They were burning it down like that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, excited for that, because I'll be there right after that. And then
are you flying there or driving there?
Driving.
Okay.
So because I want to be able to get out.
Okay.
And then if you happen to see me wearing a buffalo costume or whatever in the Capitol,
chauffeur?
Holding spears, trashing Pelosi's office. Wasn't me. That's not me with no legs. It's a mirror image. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I am, however, a little bit more optimistic. I'm not excited about Trump presidency, but I want that more than I want a Harris Walz presidency. And it is kind of funny, because a lot of my Democratic friends are really quiet, and they are putting, when I post something and we're having discussions, which I posted about the vice presidents and the problem there, like, hey, why can't we keep this civil and all this kind of stuff and just talk about the policies? And
right.
One of my friends posted some policies from the Harris Walz, campaign, and here's what they're running on, here's what they want to do, and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, if there's a Trump presidency, and he never before, he was really confident about Biden,
Right.
And now it's more like we may end up with another one. So I hope if there's a Trump presidency, it's this, and this. So who knows?
Yeah. And then these there's a faction of extreme conservative Christian folks that are saying that they can't support Trump because he's not strong enough on abortion. Your lack of support for Trump in this case, I wouldn't even say support, your lack of a vote for Trump in this case, I don't care what you say, just, is going to elect the most radical people ever known to our country to the president and vice president positions. And that's general on the radical side. If you want to get specifically on abortion, Tim Walz signed a bill, the most radical, quote unquote, abortion rights bill in the nation right now in the state of Minnesota and it is so extreme that you could be a 15-year-old girl and then go to a doctor. They can perform an abortion and the doctor does not have to inform that 15-year-old's parents.
Yeah.
By law, it's 100% legal.
And was that last episode?
You can't get braces on a kid without getting parents' permission. But in
you can go
this Tim Walz, so the Harris Walz administration campaign are 100% on board with giving out as many abortions to whoever they want without telling parents, with making the government pay for everything. It's the most radical thing you've ever heard in your life from an abortion perspective. So don't give me this, well, Trump is wishy-washy now on abortion. Yeah, he is, but he's much closer to the side of against abortion than you'll ever hear from Harris Walz.
Yeah,
crazy. I'm getting fired up now. Let's move on.
It is.
Where you want to be CEO?
All right, we should. It is kind of funny because for the audience who doesn't know, Chet and I have a difference of opinion on how we should go about the abortion topic. And
we're not going to get into that.
Well, I'm just saying there's been some. I don't know how long did we debate that night on over text. It was a long time. Troy was probably
Troy. That text. So here you go, behind the curtain, listeners. We have a signal thread where we communicate, and sometimes it's not just about the show. We just get to talking because we're all friends, right? And like this last one, we went forever, and Troy, like, I think because that's when he dropped out, and he didn't come back for 3 or 4. No, he didn't come back for 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden he had a new phone. My theory is he just was getting bing, 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 and he just threw his phone up against the wall.
So it was either him or Hannah that just threw it.
No, my old
like,
phone.
Where'd Troy go? And then he came back like 3 days later. I got a new phone, guys.
Oh man, it was.
I just mute y'all at days at a time. Sometimes it's like mute for 24 hours or until tomorrow. I do that a lot.
Mixed in that.
But then I go read it.
No, mixed in that is like important stuff, and you miss it sometimes.
Well, y'all just
we'll be talking about something and be in a heavy debate, and then it's like, oh hey, remember this for the show, and then we go right back to.
I muted you guys. I didn't see any of that.
I skim through them all though. Usually, but no, my old phone went through a water slide at Great Wolf Lodge, and it ended up on the bottom of the pool.
Yeah,
and my one of my little mirrors on the back or glass on the camera was cracked, and so water got in. Killed my phone, but it didn't die until Sunday in church. I pulled it up to look at the time.
The water started pouring out?
No, it just it flashed, and then it went green.
Yeah.
And then it died.
Okay.
So I went and got a new phone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the top 3 companies in which we would like to be CEO.
It's like a job interview.
All right.
We're back. Troy.
Yo.
Where would you like to be CEO?
Number 3, the Cheesecake Factory.
Just so you would bring one to Wichita?
There is one in Wichita.
What?
Been one in Wichita for a long time.
No, there's not.
Right? Or is it Kansas City I'm thinking about?
That's what everybody always says we need in Wichita.
Oh, there's a small version of it, isn't there?
No.
Aren't they owned by the same people?
What? Same people on what?
The one that's downtown.
That's Wichita Cheesecake Company.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot different than the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, Cheesecake Factory, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheesecake Factory. Anyway, the reason it's on my list is, number 1, it's food.
Yeah.
And number 2, on the list I looked at top.
They have an opening?
No, the top companies you want to work for in the world, top 100. They were the first food company listed at number like 22.
Let me give you some advice my dad gave me years ago. And he said, this is I practiced this in the military. He was in the active duty Air Force for 26 years. Never go into a situation where things are running well.
Oh, then number 2,
because
it's good because
what happens? You're the CEO of the Cheesecake Factory, and the next year they fall off of that list of best places to work. Whose fault is it?
You fired.
It's your fault. Right. It's your fault. That's what changed. Well, Troy came to CEO. So you go into a place that's horrible, and you could either fix it, or they'll say, "Man, it was so bad, Troy couldn't even fix it." Like, you go into places that's the top of the world, then. Man, all you could do is screw it up, or they're going to say it was so good he just got here.
Well, I could do better with number 2, but I might screw up number 1 too.
Okay.
So.
Have you noticed?
Yeah, I've noticed.
Okay.
There you go.
My hair's sticking up.
That's better.
Oh, I went right back because You keep doing this to it.
Well, give me your hat.
All
Alfalfa
right.
over here.
Oh, man.
Number 2, Lucasfilm.
There you go. They
Yes.
screwed that up. Bring it back.
Yeah,
Bring it
bring
back.
that back.
Totally
Good job.
So I've heard
that
because I haven't seen any Star Wars, but
So I've heard. Closet Star Wars fan.
no.
So they are still under the umbrella of Walt Disney, but I would love to have them not under Walt Disney,
Yeah.
and then I would be CEO.
Strike out and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, they've screwed that up. I gave the last show a chance and couldn't get past like an episode and a half.
Which
And
one was
I
that?
told my boys, like, don't even watch that crap. We're not watching it.
Acolyte.
The Acolyte, it's so woke left. It's bad.
Yeah.
They're changing up with
Well,
the
I know you've been complaining about it because didn't Disney buy Lucasfilm? So like,
Oh, that was a long time ago. But I mean, like they're
but-
progressively getting worse.
right, but wasn't that the start of the downfall?
when Disney bought it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean that.
Yeah. 10, 12 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the downfall. Anyway.
That
I
may have been
fun.
around the time that we first met.
Probably.
So you've been complaining about. I've been listening to him complain about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause
Yeah.
we've been here almost 14 years. Yeah. Yeah. I even like watching YouTube videos about like Die Hard original trilogy, prequel trilogy YouTube people. I just like watching them now complain about the new stuff because that's even more fun than actually watching the actual shows. So anyway.
It's not much different than Call of Duty right now. Matter of fact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Same kind of thing. Different game developers took it, and then so now it's going back to Treyarch. But now all the people are complaining that before, and they're playing. They still bought the game. They're still playing it, but they're complaining about it while they're playing it, which is
Yeah.
come on, man.
And then number 1 is Pokémon.
Is that a company?
It's the top media franchise in the world, having generated a revenue of over $105 billion US dollars alone, and they're global.
Yeah.
Be a crazy company to be a CEO of.
Sounds like a lot of
would be.
work.
Yeah, and they do a lot. They have like,
Well, they had that movie.
well, they've got movies, they've
Cartoons.
got anime, cartoons. They have trading cards, the card game,
Mm-hmm.
championship,
They got the app
tournaments,
or whatever it is. Go find your Pokemon card.
They
or
got
whatever.
Pokemon Go, the app. They
Do
got
people still do that?
merch. Oh yeah, it's huge.
Still?
It's growing.
No.
Yes.
No, because I remember when it initially came out, we had people outside the office like, I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? They're like, there's a Pokemon here. Trying to get
Yeah.
the.
Well, as far as the app, I don't know about people playing that app, but as far as Pokemon in general,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
growing and gaining more.
Yeah. I don't see people walking around like,
Oh no, I don't know about
Getting
that
hit by cars.
specifically,
Right.
But
right.
I think in
Ooh,
certain
get the
areas
Poke.
though, people still do that. There is like a Wichita Facebook page for just Pokemon Go,
Yeah.
the app.
Oh.
And there's a bunch of them for card trading and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it's
Okay.
wild. I would have never known that,
Get some of that.
4 months ago, but anyway.
Well, fun. All right, I'll go. Whoa, I just had a misspelling there. Number 3, Remington Firearms.
I knew that was on your list.
You got that right. And they're screwed up right now.
Wait, I thought they were the ones that went out of business.
So Remington Firearms went out of business. Then equity firm bought their machinery and some patents, and they're called Remington something else now. They may be Remington Shooting Sports or whatever. And they're only making like the 870 and something else. So I come in there, turn that thing around, get their quality back on track, and have them dominate. Number 2, Sears. Just because I want, when people are like, any relation? I would say yes. I'm the CEO. That's my primary driver right there.
That wins today. That's the best one, right?
And then, because I get that any relation question all the
I
time.
haven't even heard Matt's. That's
I got the any relation. I can't remember which country. It was some foreign country I was in this year. Are you related to the Sears in Roebuck? I'm like, no. But if I was CEO, that's me. That's me. And number one, Bass Pro Shops. I think they are about to get steamrolled by Shields. I think what they've done with the Cabela's brand is not the greatest.
aren't Cabela's? They bought out Cabela's, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They did. They bought Ranger boats. They're big. But I think they're trying to do too much. And they're not. They're kind of getting away from, like, one of the things I was a fan of from a Cabela's perspective is Cabela's, to me, seemed to be tied more to the hunter, and Bass Pro was definitely the fisherman, but more of the novelty, right? Because everybody's wearing their Bass Pro Shops trucker hats, and I'm going to go get the Billy Bass, talking bass on the wall. I'm going to get my trout slippers. It just seemed to me like Bass Pro was just like a little bit on the cartoonish side.
Bass Fish mailbox.
Yeah. And Cabela's was a little bit more serious about the outdoorsman. And I don't know. I think I could do a pretty good job. And I'd probably spin Cabela's off, sell them, cut them up and sell them, even though Bass Pro Shops just acquired them. So anyway, there's my top 3.
I like it. Matt.
I'll tell you what, number 3 was a tough one. That was between Stark Industries or Wayne Enterprises.
What? Oh, fictitious.
We went fictitious. Fictitious? Is that a word?
Fictitious.
But the real side of that would be like Skunk Works. So defense industry coming up with all the creative ways, knowing certain high intel stuff. I think it would just kind of be cool to run a company like that.
My brother-in-law Joel sent me a podcast. Yeah, you ought to like this, and it was on Lockheed Martin, which Skunk Works is a division of Lockheed Martin. It was 3 hours long. That was a long podcast. It was good. It took me about a week to get through it.
Yeah. All the stuff they do, I mean, they got their hands on a little bit of everything. I'm sure they probably had, hands in a lot of things.
Okay.
Yep. Because it smells
like skunk.
like skunk. Number 2, what did I have here? Virgin Group.
Like the airline?
No, so the Virgin Group is airlines part of that, but the Virgin Group consists of about 200 companies. So Atlantic, cruises, hotels.
Yeah.
All that.
But you could have also said yes, like the airline, yes, including other things. But you said no.
Not just the airline.
Right. But I was like the airline, you're like, no.
So
the airline and other things.
Did they start out with Virgin Records?
They did not start there, I don't think.
He started.
That's all I remember.
So he started as like a mail order record company.
Okay, like what was the Columbia House? Remember those?
Yeah, kind of like that. You'd
subscribed.
Well, you'd check the boxes of all the ones you wanted to order, and then mail it in, and they'd send you. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are days, man. Waiting on that.
Way back in the day.
You could get 10 for the price of 1. Remember that?
Yeah.
But it was a subscription.
Yeah. So the next time you got hosed. But I think, being the CEO of that, obviously 200 companies, you got, you're going to have your hands full.
Yeah. A lot of meetings.
But if I want to go somewhere,
wines.
I fly anywhere I want to go.
Yeah.
Stay at my own hotels, eat at the hotels. Basically everything's included. Like I just,
I'm just testing out the services.
Plus Virgin Galactic. Come on.
Intergalactic.
Send me up to space.
Yeah, they did. They had a space flight already.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
I would like to do that.
Yeah.
And I think a CEO.
You want to go to space?
Heck yeah. I think
Really?
that's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Did you, Troy?
No.
Yeah, you're weird.
I don't even want to leave the U.S. Why would I want to go into space?
I would like to, like, I don't want to be the astronauts now on the Boeing Starship that
Well, I mean, that's what's going to happen.
are hearing.
Especially if you're the CEO of that company. It's like their sonar is pinging us.
I don't. And sound doesn't travel in space, so I don't know. It's not sonar. The ship's making a sound, and it's concerning to them. So I don't want to be on that.
Right.
I kind of want to go.
And there's no ride home.
Right.
That's the part I don't like.
Until 25.
Yeah. Like, sorry,
for now.
we're not coming to get you.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Our bad, but we can't come get you. Right now.
Hey, Matt, I need a ride. Can you come to space and get me?
If I had Virgin Galactic, I'd just put my little ship up there and go. But I think it would be kind of cool to go out, do a lap around the moon, be able to look back, just to see it. I think that'd be.
It's at that flat disc floating in the air.
Yeah, just see if it's flat, because everybody seems to think that's the case.
Is Virgin? Is that the one the Dude Perfect dude went up in?
No, I think it's a different one.
Because one of them went to space. There's more than one going to space.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's the thing.
Plus, I'm pretty sure as CEO, I get invited to Branson's private island and get to.
Well, he's the CEO now. That would be your private island.
Well, is he the CEO? I thought he was the owner. I thought he had CEOs that ran that for him.
Maybe he does. I don't know. I'll ask him next time I see him.
I think he kind of retired. Well, you're in that,
Yeah.
You're in that circle.
All right, number one.
Number one, CEO of Sporting KC.
Oh.
I would love to own a soccer, I would love to own a soccer team.
Run the organization.
Manage the organization. Just because I love soccer, I think it would. I don't know that one would actually be too much of a job. Like, I think I would enjoy it. It'd be a lot of work, but something that I would really enjoy, and I think it would just be kind of fun.
I would come to games if you gave me free tickets.
Would you hire Ted Lasso as your coach?
I have not seen any Ted Lasso episodes, so I don't know if I would hire him or not. But
you need to watch it if you're a soccer fan.
Are you a fan
of soccer?
No, of Ted Lasso?
Yes.
Then I probably wouldn't consider him at all.
I've seen clips. I've never watched an episode.
I've never seen an episode.
Fantastic show.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. Troy, we got the good word for today?
Yes. Comes out of Philippians.
2 Peter 3:8?
No. No. That 2 Peter 3:8 is for another podcast.
I don't know. I may not be agreeing to that.
This was another debate that Chet and I had last night, matter of fact.
Huge debate. Almost did break my brand new phone from all the pinging. No. Philippians 1:9-10 says, "And it is my prayer that your love may abound more and more with knowledge and all discernment, so that you may approve what is excellent, and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ." This is Paul speaking to the Philippians.
Oh. What's that? Love may abound more and more?
Love.
Not knowledge may abound more and more? Or understanding of theoretical or what quantum mechanics may abound more and more?
Love may abound more and more with knowledge and all discernment.
Discernment. Oh,
so that you may approve what is excellent and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ.
Okay.
The goal is pure and blameless. All right, that's what I got.
All right. Catch you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.